What's up, gentlemen? Your favorite commissioner coming at you pre-recorded once again for another edition of the League 13 recap. This week we're on week 6, and we're just going to dive right into it. I'm not going to put any extra effort into it this week. But, definitely not butthurt about that at all. We're going to dive into the first matchup of the week. And we are going to go with the newly married. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Perkinson. I believe everybody in the league was at the wedding or in the wedding. But regardless, I think we all had fun. I think we all got drunk off Pat's dime. And it was a good time had by all. Especially Perk, because he beat his brother-in-law this week. So congratulations. Not only did you get married, I'm sure you got some other things, but most importantly is you got to win over Tim. Matt is 3-3 and in 6th place. Last person into the playoffs if they started today, which they do not. Tim is 2-4 and in 9th place. Matchup wise, Perk had Caleb Williams finally show up. He had 30 points out of him against Jacksonville, 4 passing touchdowns, 226 yards and 56 rushing yards. Pretty good. 25.5 points out of Brian Robinson. I should say finally showed up, but I feel like he hasn't been having a great year this year, but good that he had a good week this week. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, is also breaking the threshold, 23.3 points. He had 2 touchdowns. I feel like that's got to be, I don't know, I'm assuming he can't have more than 2 touchdowns all year. Your Green Bay kicker, what's NA? Why is your kicker NA? Oh, he was waived. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. Perk, your kicker's fine. Don't spend any money going to get another one. You beat Tim by 5 points. Tim, you had Brock Purdy get you 24 points, 22 points out of DeAndre Swift, and 24 points out of Cole Kmet. 2 touchdowns out of a tight end this year is really worth mentioning regardless. So, so close matchup, but Tim gave you the nice, the nice wedding gift and let you get the win. Perk, you had a guy on your bench get negative points. That's impressive. Tim should have started Alan Lazard, although now he's going to be, the wide receiver 4? For sure 3, with my boy moving over into the New York Jets, the New York Football Jets. Next matchup we have between the top 2 guys in the league, Brandon and Corey. And Corey, you did it. And I don't know if everybody else saw what all transpired on Monday night, not only Monday night matchup-wise, but Monday night between these two. But Corey had, oh crap, now I'm just totally having a brain fart. James Cook, sorry, had to look. James Cook was ruled out Monday night. And so Corey went to go pick up his backup. And who has James Cook's backup? Brandon. Brandon picked up, what's his name? I don't even know off the top of my head. Tyler Johnson, whatever his name is. But he picked him up, so Corey had to pick up the 3rd string guy, Ty Johnson. He had to pick up Ray Davis. And funny enough, Ray Davis significantly outperformed Ty Johnson and put Corey over the edge by a significant amount. He also had the Jets defense going last night, so he could have rolled with just leaving James Cook as it is and hoping that his defense would have scored him enough points to beat Brandon, and it would not have been enough. So it was a very dramatic win that Corey got. But Corey gives Brandon his first loss. Brandon's 5-1, still in first place. Corey's up to 4-2 and in second place. I think you're in a 3-way tie, but you are winning points-wise out of those teams that are 4-2. Brandon, you had 20 points out of Stephon Diggs, number 1 wide receiver on that team in my opinion. C.J. Stroud just barely missed 20 points. Excuse me. A.J. Brown got you 24. Other than your tight end, you had double-digit points out of everybody, 130 points. I think that wins you most weeks. Although I did look it up, and actually there was a fair amount of losses that have happened with 130 points. I was kind of surprised I don't remember what the percentage was, but I know I got to the point where I'm like, it's not worth mentioning because, yeah, there's just a surprising amount of people who have lost with 130 points. But also, it is worth mentioning that I did figure this out a while back that overall, out of all the scores that have ever happened in this league, I think the average is like 129 or something. So technically, Brandon did score above average what is normally scored in a week in the league. Corey, on the other hand, Lamar Jackson, 20 points, 35.5 points out of Chris Godwin, 22 points out of Zay Flowers. The aforementioned Ray Davis, 18 points, not worth mentioning, but when you're projected for 3 and you get 18, that's pretty good. 97 rushing yards, 3 catches for 55 yards, that's very impressive. Also, excuse me, 19.4 points out of your kicker, Boswell. Boswell's end well. Boswell, that ends well. That was very much butchered. Yet Corey had Keenan Allen on his bench with 21 points. But, you should probably call this out. Corey has somebody on the IR, James Cook, who is not on the IR anymore. Corey, you should probably get that figured out. This is your 24-hour notice to get that shit figured out. Surprised nobody else called you out on it, but I don't think any of us are surprised that Corey's trying to pull that. I did have a tidbit written down here. I do also want to notice, not that Corey is a cheater, but also the fact that Brandon has lost his last 3 matchups against Corey. So I feel like a lot of people have winning streaks against Corey. Brandon has a current 3-game losing streak against Corey, so sucks to suck. Next matchup we have is between Mitch and Matt. Mitch and Matt. And Mitch gets the big win. He had the high score of the week, 153 points out of Mitch to Matt's 121 points. Matt is also, speaking of 3-game losing streaks, Matt is also on a 3-game losing streak right now, just like Corey is to Brandon, but Matt is on a 3-game losing streak to Mitch. So, fun little tidbit there. Matt, you had 20 points out of Deebo Samuel. You had 21 points out of Kenneth Walker. You had negative points out of Travis Etienne, negative 0.1, but negative points nonetheless. You would have done better if you didn't start him. You had 4 guys get you 20 points. 23 points out of George Kittle. 27 points out of Joe Mixon. Yeah, you had a lot of points, but you had negative points out of your second running back. That's not going to help you win. You also had 5 points out of your quarterback, which sucks. Mitch, on the other hand, Jaden Daniels, 21 points, 25 points out of Garrett Wilson, 25 points out of Derrick Henry. Tank Dell, the Tank, got you 19 points. You had 20 points out of Najee Harris on your bench. I think I have Najee Harris in my guillotine. I don't know. Matt, do you have Najee Harris in your guillotine? But Mitch, 4-2 and in 3rd place. Matt, 2-4 and in 8th place. Matt, you are, I believe, the highest. Yes, out of all the teams with that are at 2-4, you are the highest point. So congratulations on that. Now I know what you're thinking for this next matchup between Mike and Ben. Sorry, what was I going with this? Oh yes, I did kind of short circuit there. You thinking Mike won because Ben got the weekly low score. And actually, you'd be wrong. Mike did win, but Ben did not get the weekly score. And no, I did not say that Tim got the weekly low score. So we have, for the first time in 6 weeks, somebody else who's gotten the weekly low score. We'll get to that here in a second. Mike wins 146 to 101. Ben had the second lowest score of the week, I believe. Mike, 24 points out of Josh Allen, 20 points out of Deontay Johnson, 21 points out of David Montgomery, 23 points out of who? What the hell is a Tyrone Tracy? Well, you got your 23 points. Apparently, you are a smarter fantasy football manager than I am because I do not know who that is. Yeah, you had 20 points out of Josh Downs on your bench. Matt, why are you texting me? Sorry, but Matt's distracted me. He's crabby because he's got his head chopped off 2 nights ago. No, 2 nights ago, yeah. Ben, sorry, 0-6, Ben, 10th place. You are the best 0-6 team, though, in our league. Sorry if I didn't say it. Mike is 3-3 and in 5th place. Ben, you had 20 points out of Joe Burrow, and that's it. Bucky Irving got you 18.5 points. That's pretty good for a no-namer. But you had 29 points out of Baker Mayfield on your bench, and 27 points out of Jordan Love on your bench. Out of all three quarterbacks that you have on your team, you started the worst option. So it didn't help you, but if you would have started the best option, you also would have not won. So I guess it doesn't matter. So good for you. And then finally, that leaves us with the last matchup, which is typically the matchup of the week, and it is the matchup of the week. And we have the matchup between Nick and myself. And remember how I said that Ben nor Tim had the weekly low score? Well, that's because Nick had the weekly low score. I beat him 110-99. Nick is the only team that did not break the 100-point barrier this week. Although if you were at his bowling matchup last night, you would know that he got all of his points. So congratulations on that front. I am 4-2 and in fourth place. Nick is 3-3 and in seventh place. I had 22 points out of Jalen Hurts. 19 and a half points out of Drake London. I had to scramble. I was very tired on Sunday morning and did not notice until 11:55 that my running back, who I had as my second running back, I believe it was Devin Singletary, was out, and I did not know that. So I scrambled at the last second, picked up some guy called Alexander Madison. I don't know if you guys ever remember him, but he got me 17 and a half points. So it's not bad scrambling to pick him up. I have to go back and check something, but let me finish this first. Nick, on the other hand, 22 points out of Breece Hall. That was all you had worth mentioning. So, Nick, I did have the third lowest score of the week, but still got me the win. That's all that matters. So that is the matchups. So we're 6 weeks in. I mean, anybody other than Ben can make a run at this point. So there's that. I will start sending out the magic numbers here after the completion of week 8, or whoever does the matchups, or the recaps, I should say, will have that information. So I'm sure you guys are all pining to have that. But, yep, Corey, if you want to get that James Cook situation figured out, I'd appreciate it. Odds are Corey doesn't watch these, so you guys can all berate him or bug him or whatever you have to do to get him to fix that. So have a good week 7, and we'll see you next week.